Hey, this is Matt Urtz, the Madison County historian. We are still working to document how the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted different businesses, people, organizations. We are really lucky today to have Sean Nevison of the general manager of the Hamilton Theater with us. Sean, thanks for being with us.
Happy to be here.
So we all know what a movie theater is, but talk a little bit about, you guys had just undergone this extensive renovation right before COVID. You kind of reopened. Talk a little bit about that process.
Oh yeah, we had done we were closed for almost the entire summer of 2019. And then we had done a $1.5 million renovation, new HVAC unit. I'm very glad we did that now that we can reopen. It's going to be much safer with that. But we were only open until we opened October 11th and closed March 15th. So we were only open during that time frame with our new seats and our new everything that we've done in there to make it beautiful and safer. So we were actually in a very good place to be when COVID hit, and we were planning on reducing to 25% capacity and trying to stay open until the governor's mandate that we had to close. So that's where we were. I think March 15th was the last day we showed movies.
So when did COVID kind of appear on your radar? And were you like a lot of people and got your information from the governor's press conferences, or is there a movie group that you can kind of bounce ideas off of? Theater group.
Well, I think, everybody knows here in New York State that, that couple weeks leading up to basically the lockdown was, the information was pouring out from all sorts of sources. I was trying to watch as many press conferences as I could with the governor. And like I said, we made that decision to try to stay open at limited capacity and just have one theater open. And we were like, okay, let's go ahead. And I was informing the staff. And then an hour later, the governor made, the announcement about that theaters would have to be shut down. So everything was changing kind of by the minute, by the hour, in the very beginning there. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. We tried to stay up to date as much as we could. And then obviously we're thrilled now that we can come back. And this whole time we've been working on the theater, little small projects here or there, and also prepping every safety guideline, every safety recommendation, and going above and beyond with, getting the right filters for our HVAC unit, and providing a very safe yet still fun experience for the customers. So we kind of had a test run the other night. We had a private party for some Colgate students that came in on Colgate Day on Friday, and it was great. There was a lot of space, and it just felt, it felt very relaxed and comfortable, which was nice. With the limited capacity, it feels very safe in there.
So talk a little bit about, you guys closed March 15th, you said.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long time. Talk about what went on in between. You mentioned you did some little projects, but I'm assuming most of your staff was laid off.
Yes. Well, we were able to keep some staff with the amount of outdoor movies we did. So I tried my very best to keep some of them coming and helping with those. And pretty much everyone was very excited to come back. Although lots of them had jobs in between. But, I wrote a lot of recommendations for the staff to get their new jobs and such, but they all said, as soon as the theater reopens, let us know. We'd love to come back, because it's an exciting job. And when I was in high school, growing up in Hamilton, I worked at the theater then too, as a concessions worker and then as a projectionist. And it's just, it's one of those things, growing up here in a small town, it's a fun job, and we're happy to employ local college kids and local high school kids and kind of give them their first work experience and customer service experience. I think is very important for these people to learn, these kids to learn. So we're very excited to be able to give some jobs back and going in the community again to them.
talk a little bit about the pop-up movies. How did that work? How did that come about? What was the planning involved?
Well, we have an inflatable screen that's 22 feet, so it's huge, and we have all the equipment. We've always done kind of one a year is what it used to be, where we around the 4th of July would put on a movie out on the ball fields. We get like 400, 500 people would come, and just a super fun event. And then when we got the inflatable screen, people just started wanting to do more and more of them, and it's just fun. So we did several up at Sylvan Beach, which were kind of drive-ins, so people could park, and then the screen was set up by the water, facing the parking lot, obviously, and the Slater Brothers Entertainment, who are dear friends of ours and put on the film festival every year, bought us a transmitter. So we were able to, at the end when we got the transmitter, as the weather got colder, we did a couple with that so people could listen in their cars, which was really fun, like get that true drive-in feeling. And it's nice to know that we have the technology for that now. But we did one here in the village at the library, several for Colgate University. Kids, there's a group of students that had to quarantine for a month in one of the dorms, and their first night out, it was really nice. We put on a movie up there for them. And we've actually done some for several of the classes as well, have shown movies that relate to what their course is about. So we've been kind of all over the map doing it, and it's fun. It brings people together, and it is also safe because they either gather in their cars or they're spread out, because you can only really have 50 people at a time if they're sitting out, and everyone's very respectful of the rules. And like I said, it allowed us to give staff some work, and allowed us to keep, the Hamilton Theater is still a thing. We're still out there doing our best, and one day soon we're going to turn that corner and open up, and luckily that's this Friday. So we're very excited to bring back first run movies.
So talk about the process of going into this reopening now. You mentioned you had to train staff on cleaning protocols and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. What is the difference between pre-COVID and now in terms of cleaning and that kind of stuff?
Well, as mandated in the guidelines to open, you have to wear a mask now until you get to your seat. Sorry, my phone's ringing. 1 second. I don't even know where it is. Anyways, they'll have to call back. So we have different ways to come into the theater. So there's one way to come in, one way to exit, so people aren't running into each other. And there's social distance in the lobbies. There is what else? There's glass partitions now. The employees have the face shields. We'll be serving popcorn differently in a sealed container with like a little sealed butter thing if people would like to have butter. And the seating in the main theater has one entrance and one exit to leave. There's new cleaning protocols so basically, with the limited amount of films that are out right now, even though there's still some good ones, we'll just be booking one movie for all 3 theaters. So it'll all start at the same time. And there's a drop-down screen on our menu where you can choose which theater you'd like to see the movie in. And like I said, we're limited capacity, so it's very spacious in there. And as the lobby fills up, we'll be, cleaning the seats. And as the lobby empties, we'll be washing all the countertops and hand railings and basically everything in the lobby to make that safe. And then as the theater empties, we'll be going right back in there and cleaning the seats as well. And we have roped off certain areas. So the seating will be socially distanced, and we kind of will be training the customer. So there'll be one person running concessions, and the other employee will be kind of leading the customers into the theaters and being like, here's the roped off sections. And if you do find yourself in the same row as someone, please leave 3 seats distance, which is the 6 feet, mandatory. So we feel like we've been really safe about this. And as I mentioned, we have the brand new HVAC unit, and we do have the new filters that the governor said all movie theaters must put in. So we have those installed, and And yeah, we're just hoping that people can come in and be respectful and enjoy movies, and happy to bring jobs back and happy to bring some kind of entertainment back while the weather starts to get colder and there's not as much to do. People can know they can safely come into the theater and see something fun.
You mentioned that there's not that many movies out right now. Talk a little bit about that, because normally there's probably a lot you can choose from. And obviously, between a lot of movies being delayed, a lot of movies being shut down, you could probably see a lower amount of movies, let's say, for the next, what, 6 months to a year?
Yeah, a lot of them have been pushed back to spring, like the new James Bond movie that, I think it was originally supposed to come out in March, and then it got moved to November, and then it just got moved to spring. But now that theaters in New York and some in California, I believe, are opening, there are more movies coming out. So a month ago, I looked at, the coming attractions, and there was hardly anything. And now there's already a bunch more. So I'm guessing around Christmas time, and then into January and February, we'll see more movies being going to theaters. So, but yeah, you're right. It'll probably be early spring, late winter when they start putting out those big releases like the Black Widow film and the James Bond. I believe it was April, and rightfully so as we get through this winter altogether. But we're just happy. We do have Tenet opening on Friday, which is a Christopher Nolan movie. That's very exciting, and The Croods 2. After that, The Croods New Age, which is a great kids movie. So we will make sure to fill it up, and we might offer some special programming where we play some holiday movies in December and fill in where we need to fill in. But there's definitely some good stuff still on the radar.
Talk a little bit about how you think COVID, and obviously you've got these new protocols in place. How will it change how you think the movie going experience is moving forward?
I mean, I can only really guess. I feel like, during this time of nothing, it's nice to have something, and I feel that we can do it safely, and people can come in and watch films, and I feel like I think you're right. It's going to change the overall, the general idea of film, but also I think people are just anxious to have anything to do with everything being closed. So I think, when concerts come back and when movies come back into full swing, I think people are going to realize that this disconnect that we've all had, like right now we're Zooming, I'd rather be having a cup of coffee with you doing an interview, but we could, it might change the overall thing. It's like, man, why did I say no to all those things before, like going to a movie with friends or going to a concert with friends? And I think it's going to be hopefully one of those things that can reunite people and almost go back to a different era where it was like, hey, let's go get dinner and go to a movie and get out of the house for the night. I really hope that the internet doesn't kill everything. I think movies and live music and getting together with friends is so important, and I think that those arts too are what's helping us get through this time, whether that's your streaming or whatever. But just the fact that you can go support a historic theater, have some fun, and we have all these beautiful updates now with the surround sound and the picture quality and these wonderful seats you can sit on that are super comfortable. So I actually am pretty hopeful that it can be something, as all of this gets better and we can fully get back to 50% and 75%, 100%, by the summer, hopefully, that it will be a return to normal and a return to people wanting to, as I said, get together.
If folks wanted to come to the movies this Friday night, how can they buy tickets?
So we're trying to urge people, because of limited capacity, to go online. If you go to hamiltontheater.net, there's a little picture of a ticket, and you can click on that. There's another way to get to it, and the tickets link. But you click on that little picture of a ticket, and you enter the date that you'd like to go. And it's very simple. It'll have the title, Tenet, or for next week, The Croods. You click on the title and it'll have the times. And then we've added a new function where you can choose theater 1, theater 2, or theater 3. That way you know exactly what theater you're in. And then when you come in, you simply tell us the email you used at the purchase, and we can look that up on our end and say, oh, here's your email. You have 4 tickets for theater 2 or theater 3, and proceed that way. So it's touchless. There doesn't have to be a transaction besides that. So yeah, we're urging people to do that. You can come in and buy a ticket. There's no guarantee that there'll be seats because of our limited capacity. And the other really cool thing, I was just on the phone with my friend who has a little kid, and his favorite movie is The Croods. Not my friend, his kid, but he wants to see the second one. And I said, well, I have my 2 boys and we could go together. So there'll be 6 of us, and that's the capacity for the small theater. So it's almost like we get a private screening just for our little friend group. And I think that will also bring people out when they know, okay, if there's 6 of us that are together, whether it's their pod of friends or their family, they can come in and safely know that they're in a theater by themselves and you know, feel safe because of all the protocol we've set up in there. So I think I think that's a really good option. And I think it's also nice to some people that maybe want to sit in the main theater and also have that reaction with other people laughing at the same time and crying at the same time and whatever it is happening in the movie, jumping in fear if it's a horror movie. But I also like that about theaters, is the interactive reaction of all gasping together at the same moment. So yeah, I think it's a cool option, and it's what we have to work with right now. But the silver lining is there's, you know, it makes it even safer and more comfortable for maybe a family that would feel nervous, but now they can have a whole theater to themselves.
Sean, thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. We know you're very busy leading up to this. I mean, today is Monday the 16th, so you only got 4 days left to get everything together. We wish you nothing but the best. We've told everybody we may call you back down the road as things get better, or hopefully not worse, but and talk about how the protocols have changed things even more. So, but we got a ways away for that. We wish you nothing but the best. We hope to talk to you soon. And I've been lucky enough to see a couple of movies there and present to Colgate in that theater during their alumni weekend and all that kind of fun stuff. So it's a wonderful theater, and it's a great old building. And I got to see some of the renovations through my role. And again, looks fantastic. Thank you again. And we hope to talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And thanks for all you do here in our community and all the surrounding communities. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.